Continuous supply of goods means supply of goods which is provided or agreed to be provided continuously or on recurrent basis under a contract, whether or not by means of wire, cable, pipeline, or other conduit, and for which the supplier invoices the recipient on regular or periodic basis, and includes supply of such goods as the central government may, subject to such consideration, as it may by notification specify. Continuous supply of services means supply of services which is provided or agreed to be provided continuously or recurrent basis under a contract for a period exceeding 3 months, with periodic payment obligations, and include supply of such services as the government may, subject to such consideration as it may by notification specify. Conveyance include a vessel, an aircraft, and a vehicle. Cost accountant means a accountant as defined in uh, clause B of subsection 1 of section 2 of the Cost Accountants Act 1959 or 23 of 1959. Council means Goods and Service Tax Council established under Article 279A of the Constitution. Credit note means a document issued by registered person under subsection 1 of section 34. Debit note means a document issued by registered person under subsection 3 of section 34. Deemed export means such supply of goods as may be notified under section 147. Designated authority means such authority as may be notified by the board. Document includes written or printed a record of any sort of electronic record as defined in section clause T of section 2 of Information Technology Act 2000. Drawback in relation to any goods manufactured in India and exported means the rebate of duty, tax, or is chargeable on any imported inputs or any domestic inputs or input services used in the manufacture of such goods. Electronic cash ledger means electronic cash ledger referred to in subsection 1 of section 44. Electronic commerce means the supply of goods and services or both, including digital products over digital or electronic network. Electronic commerce operator means any person who owns, operates, or manages digital or electronic facility or platform for electronic commerce. Electronic credit ledger means the credit electronic credit ledger referred to in subsection 2 of section 49. Exempt supplies means supply of any goods or services or both which attract nil rate of tax or which may be wholly exempt from tax under section 11 or under section 6 of Integrated Goods and Service Tax Act and includes non-taxable supply. Existing law means any law, notification, order, rule, or regulation relating to collection of duty or tax on goods and services, or both passed or made before commencement of this act by Parliament or any authority or person having the power to make such law, notification, order, rule, or regulation. Family means the spouse and children of the person, and the parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters of the person if they are wholly or mainly dependent on the said person. Fixed establishment means a place other than registered place of business which is characterized by sufficient degree of permanence and suitable structure in terms of human and technical resources to supply services or to receive or use for its own needs. Funds means funds in Consumer Welfare Fund established under Section 57. Goods means every kind of movable property other than money and securities but includes actionable claims, growing crops, grass and things attached to or forming part of land which are agreed to be served before supply or under the contract of supply. Government means central government. Goods and service tax compensation to states act means Goods and Service Tax Compensation to State Act 2017. Goods and Service Tax Practitioner means any person who is approved under Section 48 to act as passage practitioner. India means the territory of India as referred to in Article 1 of the Constitution. Its territorial waters, seabed, subsoil underlying such waters, continental shelf, exclusive economic zone, and any other maritime zone as referred to in territorial waters, continental shelf, exclusive economic zone, and other maritime zone 1976 and the airspace above its territory and territorial waters. Integrated Goods and Service Tax and means Integrated Goods and Service Tax Act 2017. Integrated tax means Integrated Goods and Service Tax levied under Integrated Goods and Service Tax Act. Input means any goods other than capital goods used or intended to be used by a supplier in the course of furtherance of the business. Input services means any services used or intended to be used by a supplier in the course of furtherance of the business. Input service distributor means an office of the supplier of goods and service or both which receives tax invoice towards the receipt of input services, including invoices in respect of services liable to tax under subsection 3, subsection 4 of section 9 of this act or subsection 4 of section 5 of Integrated Goods and Service Tax Act 2017 for on behalf of distinct person referred to in section 25 and liable to distribute the input tax credit in respect of such service invoices in the manner provided in section 20. Input tax in relation to a registered person means central tax, state tax, union territory tax charged on any supply of goods and services or both made to him and includes integrated goods and service tax act on import of goods, the tax payable under provisions of subsection 3 and 4 of section 9, the tax payable on subsection 3 and 4 of section 5 of integrated goods and service tax act, the tax payable under provisions of section 3 and 4 of section 9 of respective goods and service tax act, the tax payable under provisions of Section 3, 4 of Section 7 of Union Territory Goods and Service Tax Act that does not include the tax paid under composition levy. Input tax credit means the credit of input tax. Interstate supply of goods shall have the same meaning as assigned to it in Section 8 of Integrated Goods and Service Tax Act. Intrastate supply of goods services shall have the same meaning as assigned to it in subsection 8 of Integrated Goods and Service Tax Act. Invoice or input tax invoice means tax invoice as referred to in Section 31. Inward supply in relation to a person shall mean receipt of goods and services or both, whether by purchase or acquisition or any other means with or without consideration. Job work means any treatment or process undertaken by a person on goods belonging to another registered person and expression of job worker shall be constituted accordingly. Local authority means a panchayat as defined in clause D of Article 243 of the Constitution. A municipality as defined in clause E of Article 243P of the Constitution. A municipal committee, Jilla Parishad, a district board or any other authority legally entitled to or entrusted by the central government or the state government with the control and management of municipal fund or local fund. For the purpose of subclause 4, local funds means any fund under the control and management of an authority of local self-government established for discharging civic functions in relation to panchayat area and vested by law with the powers to collect, appropriate any tax, duty, toll, just by whatever name called. Municipal fund means fund under control and management of authority of a local self-government established for discharging civic authorities in relation to metropolitan area, municipal area invested by law, with the powers to levy and collect appropriate any tax duties cess by whatever name called. A cantonment board. A cantonment board as defined in Section 3 of Cantonment Act 2006. A regional council or district council constituted under 6th schedule to the Constitution. A development authority under Section 371 of the Constitution. A regional authority constituted under Article 371A of the Constitution.